The entertainment world is in shock after the heartbreaking news that Eric Dane, the unforgettable face behind some of television's most iconic characters, has passed away at the age of 53 following a courageous battle with ALS. For millions of fans around the globe, he wasn't just an actor, he was McSteamy, he was Cal Jacobs, he was the strong and complex Captain Tom Chandler, a performer whose presence lit up every screen he appeared on. And now, after nearly a year of openly fighting one of the most devastating neurological diseases, his journey has come to an end, surrounded by the people who meant everything to him. His family confirmed that he spent his final moments with his closest friends, his devoted wife Rebecca Gayheart, and their two daughters, Billy and Georgia, the true center of his world. Those who knew him best say that even in his most difficult days, Eric remained focused on love, on gratitude, and on making sure that his battle meant something beyond himself. Because when he revealed his ALS diagnosis in April 2025, he didn't do it only to explain his absence. He did it to raise awareness, to shine a light on a disease that still has no cure, and to give a voice to thousands of families living the same reality. ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, slowly robs the body of muscle control while leaving the mind fully aware, a cruel and relentless condition. And yet, even after receiving that life-changing diagnosis, Eric made a decision that defines who he was as both an artist and a human being. He chose to keep working. He spoke about feeling fortunate to return to the set of Euphoria, determined not to let the illness take away what he loved most: performing, storytelling, and connecting with audiences. That determination mirrors the path that made him a star in the first place. Born in San Francisco in 1972, Eric Dane didn't become famous overnight. He built his career step by step, appearing in series like Gideon's Crossing and Charmed before landing the role that would change everything, Drive. Mark Sloan in Grey's Anatomy. What began as a guest appearance quickly turned into one of the most beloved characters in the show's history. McSteamy wasn't just the charming plastic surgeon, he was complicated, vulnerable, loyal, and deeply human. Fans watched him grow, fall in love, make mistakes, and ultimately become one of the emotional pillars of the series. Even after leaving Grey's Anatomy in 2012, Eric never stopped evolving. He took on the lead role in The Last Ship, proving he could carry an entire drama as a commanding and heroic captain. Years later, he stunned a new generation of viewers with his dark and layered performance as Cal Jacobs in Euphoria, a character that was uncomfortable, intense, and impossible to ignore. It was a reminder that he was never afraid to take risks, never afraid to show the flawed and complicated sides of masculinity and power. On the big screen, he left his mark as well, appearing in major films like X-Men, The Last Stand, Marley and Me, Valentine's Day, Burlesque, and Bad Boys: Ride or Die. Each role added another layer to a career that spanned decades and genres, from romantic comedies to action blockbusters to emotionally charged television dramas. But behind the fame and the camera flashes was a man whose personal life had its own chapters of struggle, reconciliation, and deep connection. His marriage to Rebecca Gayheart went through difficult moments, including a divorce filing years earlier. Yet in one of the most moving turns of their story, she chose to dismiss those proceedings shortly before his diagnosis became public. What followed was not a typical Hollywood narrative of separation, but one of friendship, respect, and family unity. She spoke openly about how they had found a new formula, not just as partners, but as best friends and co-parents, creating a stable and loving environment for their daughters. That bond became even more meaningful during his illness. In the face of ALS, the focus shifted completely to what truly mattered: time together, shared memories, and the quiet strength of a family refusing to let go of hope. And perhaps that is Eric Dane's greatest legacy: not only the characters he played, but the courage he showed when the spotlight was no longer about success, but about survival. He turned his diagnosis into a mission, advocating for research, for awareness, and for compassion. He allowed the world to see his vulnerability, and in doing so, gave strength to others walking the same path. For fans, it feels impossible to separate the man from the moments he gave us: the confidence of Mark Sloan walking through Seattle Grace, the authority of Captain Chandler steering a ship through chaos, the chilling intensity of Cal Jacobs confronting his own demons. Those performances are now part of television history, and they will continue to live on long after this loss. The tributes pouring in from co-stars, friends, and viewers tell the same story: a generous colleague, a devoted father, a loyal friend, and an artist who never stopped giving everything he had. He adored his fans, and he knew how much their support meant, especially during the most difficult chapter of his life. His passing is not just the loss of a talented actor, it is the farewell to a man who showed the world how to face the unimaginable with dignity, honesty, and heart. And while the industry mourns, and fans revisit the scenes that made them laugh, cry, and fall in love with his characters, there is one image that remains stronger than any role he ever played: Eric Dane at home, surrounded by the people he loved most, holding on to them until the very end. That is how he left this world. Not as a star fading away, but as a father, a husband, a friend, and a fighter whose story will continue to inspire long after the final curtain fell.